Part 11. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 101. Chapter 101 Seedlings. On the way, the village chief said, "Kong Sheng, the risk of farming now is indeed very high. You can see it just by looking at the Zhang family. They invested a lot of money in the early stage, and now they have transferred it for more than 20,000 yuan. They are just afraid of the future. If you lose money again, you can take advantage of it now. Although he has his own reasons for losing money, you should think about it again." Qiao Kongsheng glanced at his granddaughter, saw her shaking her head, and said with a smile, "Village chief, I understand your kindness. Don't worry, our family has been very lucky recently, and we want to give it a try." Hearing this, the village chief stopped trying to persuade him. As the village chief, he selfishly hopes that someone can contract those lands, so that the village's income can also increase. Qiao Kongsheng and his wife are different from Zhang Fugui and his wife. They are both hard-working and honest people. Maybe they can really make money from farming. Soon after, the two families signed an agreement in the presence of the village chief and village cotters. Qiao Ningxun originally wanted Qiao Kongsheng or Qiao Shulan to sign it. But before coming, Qiao Kongsheng said that he had other sons, and if anything happened, those people would come over to fight for the property. Qiao Shulan also said that since she paid for the contract herself, it was her turn to sign. Qiao Ningxun also felt that it made sense, so he directly wrote down his name. After signing the contract, Qiao Ningxun took out the cash from the bag, actually from the space, and gave it to the Zhang family. The Zhang family breathed a sigh of relief when they got the money and left quickly. "This is good, this hot potato is finally thrown out." By the way, Qiao Ningxun also gave him the contract fee for the next year. As soon as I walked out of the village office, people who used to work for the Zhang family when they were contracted gathered around, including Wei Dongchen's parents, Wei Fasai and Gu Xiaoyan. Wei Dongchen asked very embarrassedly, "Sister Ningxun, did you really contract the land?" Qiao Ningxun nodded, "That's right." Wei Dongchen hoped, then can you continue to let my parents go to work?" The other four people next to him also said, "There is also me, I also want to continue working." "I want, too. You have to continue to recruit people anyway, so just leave us to work." "Yes, we will work hard." Qiao Ningxun looked them over. Except for Wei Dongchen's parents, the other four people had never had any contact with their Qiao family. He said in a calm tone, "I don't know how you worked before, so I will give you 7 days during the trial period, it's 80 yuan a day. If you pass the trial period, I will decide whether to continue using you and whether to give you a raise." Wei Dongchen's family of 3 were overjoyed at the same time. Their family was famous for their diligence, otherwise the Zhang family would not have come to see them. The probation period is only 80 yuan a day, which is much more generous than Zhang Fugui. They have been working for 5 years, and their current daily wage is only 40 yuan a day. The other 4 people looked a little ugly. Although the daily wage given by Lao Qiao's family is higher than that given by Zhang's family, the 4 of them are more or less related to Zhang's family, and they have leverage against Zhang's family. Even if they are lazy, Zhang Fugui would not dare to accuse them. Even if they deliberately gave the work to the Wei family, the Wei family did not dare to complain. They also know that Wei Dongchen and Lao Qiao's grandson are classmates, so they won't be able to blatantly bully the Wei family in the future. Qiao Ningxun saw their expressions of embarrassment and asked, "What? Is there any inconvenience? If I can't meet my requirements, then I will have to find someone else." One person said, "It's nothing inconvenient. When does the probation period start?" "Starting from tomorrow, I will plan what you should do tomorrow. But I don't know you yet. I am also your new boss. You can all introduce yourself. Just tell your name and age." From now on start on my left. My name is Li Gailai, I am 48 years old. My name is Zhang Shenke, I am 50 years old and I am Li Gailai's husband. My name is Huan Qinfang, I am 50 years old this year. My name is Zhang Yushan, I am 52 years old, and I am Huan Qinfang's husband. My name is Gu Xiaoyan, I am 48 years old. My name is Wei Fasai, I am 50 years old and I am Gu Xiaoyan's husband. Qiao Ningxun nodded, I remember, the Wei family will stay, and the others can go back first. We will meet in front of my house at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. 8 o'clock. The Wei family were overjoyed at the same time. Does this mean that they no longer have to work at 7 o'clock every day? Zhang Yushan said with a flattering look on his face, Ningxun, if you want to find someone familiar, you should find us. The Wei family is the last one to go to work and is not as familiar with us. No need, Qiao Ningxun said expressionlessly, I don't ask any questions, I just want to talk to them. Hearing this, the four people could say nothing more and went home. Qiao Ningxun took his family and the Wei family for another walk in the fields. Coming to the front of the fruit forest, Qiao Ningxun saw that the Wei family looked at the fruit forest with unhappy expressions, and asked, What's wrong with you? Is there something wrong with the fruit forest? Wei Fasai said apologetically, Ningxun, I'm sorry, the Zhang family was there just now. We were afraid that he wouldn't pay us the money that was withheld, so we didn't dare to say some things to you in front of him. Qiao Ningxun asked curiously, What are you talking about? Some of these fruit trees were bought from the internet by Zhang Fugui for petty gain. They are all ungrafted seedlings. If you have never planted the ground, you may not know that it is difficult for seedlings to bear fruit. Even if some can bear fruit, they still have to be planted. Many years. Qiao Kongshen knew about the seedlings and frowned, How many seedlings are there? Wei Fasai said, I roughly calculated that there are hundreds of trees, all of which were planted 5 years ago when the Zhang family first contracted the contract. Some of them bloomed and bore fruit last year and this spring, but no matter what we do, no matter how you take care of it, the fruits will either fall off within a few days of growing, or they will fall off when the weather gets hot, and you won't be able to keep them every year. Gu Xiaoyan said, Yes, most of them can't bear fruit, but taking care of the fruit trees is not as tiring as growing vegetables. What the Zhang family thought at the beginning was that it would bear fruit sooner or later, so they didn't let anyone come over to graft them. There are other fruit trees. The Zhang family bought them from a local fruit tree company after they found out that they had been deceived. However, the seedlings were not very good. He bought the cheapest ones. Some of them were grafted by others, but the grafted ones were not very good. Very good, the fruit has started to bear fruit since last year, and the fruits are all very sour and cannot be sold at a high price. Hearing this, Qiao Ningxun opened the door of the orchard and asked as he walked, What do you mean? For the seedlings, it is best to find someone to graft them once before those trees can bear fruit. As for other trees, it is best to find someone to graft them again. Will produce better fruit next year, right? Wei Fasai said, This is just the idea of the two of us. You can discuss it and consider our proposal, but it doesn't matter if you don't consider it. These seedlings have been several years old, and maybe they will be able to bear fruit normally in 2 years. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 102. Chapter 102 Something has been done. Qiao Ningxun smiled and said, Okay, I will think about it carefully. She will think carefully about how to spawn them. There are magic formulas for inducing birth, and there is nothing to be afraid of when the seedlings are born. There is no need to spend money on grafting. Qiao Ningxun and her family took a walk in the orchard. The group suddenly stopped in front of a peach tree. Qiao Kongsheng asked, I know the character of the Zhang family. They don't want to suffer any loss. Many of the fruits I saw just now will be ripe soon. Are these fruits very sour? So I didn't pick them. Wei Fusai said, yes, these fruits are not very sweet, and they can't be sold for a price, so the Zhang family gave up. Gu Xiaoyan said, yes, I don't know if the feng shui of this land is bad. Even the grafted fruit trees produce very sour fruits and cannot be sold for money, so the Zhang family changed hands. Qiao Ningxun smiled and said, don't worry, I'm here. If you do as I say from now on, I guarantee that this orchard can be brought back to life. The Wei family couple just smiled and didn't take the child's words to heart. How capable can a child be? Qiao Ningxun took his family to look around again, and suddenly asked, where do you usually water? There are several small ponds here, which can store water when it rains. The water in them is occasionally used. If there is no water in the pond, you have to fetch water. After Wei Fusai finished speaking, he walked towards the south. After a while, he stopped by a well and said, if there is no water in the pond, we will water it with water from this well. Qiao Ningxun asked doubtfully, is the water from this well enough? Gu Xiaoyan said, it's enough when it rains a lot, but when it rains less, especially when there was little rain last year, it's not enough. We can only go to the river far away to fetch water. Qiao Ningxun nodded, I understand. This is not a problem, she can control water, and when the time comes, she can just make it rain. Qiao Ningxun asked again, how long did the Zhang family ask you to work in a day? Gu Xiaoyan said, every day from 7 in the morning to 9 in the evening. How much does it cost per day? 40. What about the first year? 20. The Qiao family were indignant at the same time. They were like landowners in the old days. No wonder they only hired 6 people with so much land. They were using people as slaves. Qiao Kongsheng asked, in such a large area, Zhang Jia has not even installed an automatic water pump. Do you have to fetch water every time? Wei Fusai nodded, yes, although it is hard, you can only endure it. Although it is hard work, work is done every day, and it is still at home, so it is not easy to be defaulted. Qiao Kongsheng didn't ask much after hearing this. These 2 people were indeed as honest as their son said. The group of people soon arrived at the entrance of the orchard. Qiao Ningxun said, Uncle Wei, Aunt Gu, you can start working today. First, repair the fence to prevent outsiders from entering. After that, rest. The rest of the work will be done tomorrow. Do it and I can calculate your wages today. The Wei family members were overjoyed at the same time. Thank you. Qiao Ningxun looked at Wei Dongchen again. Currently, I need some temporary workers here. You should be over 16 years old, right? Are you willing to do summer work? The probation period is also 7 days. It's 70 yuan a day for the time being, and you can't work more than 8 hours a day. After 7 days, I will consider giving you a wage increase based on the results of the field. Wei Dongchen's eyes suddenly lit up, is it really possible? Can I really have a job? Well, yes. After Qiao Ningxun finished speaking, he looked at Guan Yiwen again, you can also come here. I saw your father and son's performance last time. They worked very hard. If your father is still at home free now, you can come here, he is an adult and can give you 81 days. Guan Yiwen was instantly happy, thank you, Sister Ningxun. I will go back and inform my father right away. The salary of 80 yuan a day is not as good as working as a coolie in the city, but at least it is stable, and it is also close to home, so it is not that hard, and you can still take care of the family. His father also happens to be out of work right now. Okay, let's go. Qiao Ningxun said to He Yuan Huai again, it's summer vacation now, and your classmates are basically 16 years old. If there are others who are willing to come, you can let them come as long as you think their character is good during the interview. As long as their character is good, their hands and feet are quick, and they are healthy, I can consider giving them a job, but to control the number, I will only need 30 people in the field for the time being. He Yuanhui nodded, thank you very much, cousin, I will tell them. There are indeed classmates of his in the village, but some are in junior high school, some are in vocational high schools, and some are in the same school as him but in different classes. Chiao Ningxun didn't say anything more and asked the Wei family to start working while he returned home first. As for He Yuanyang's classmates who came to help harvest potatoes last time, they will be in their senior year of high school in the second half of the year. It is estimated that they will not come to work. Chiao Shulan had been taking care of her two nieces and nephews. When she saw her daughter coming back, she asked, how is the situation? Chiao Ningxun waved the transfer agreement on his hand, I have contracted it. We will have something to do in the next 25 years. Chiao Shulan took the agreement and looked at it. She was a little worried at first, but thinking about the rapid growth of loquats and vegetables at home last time, she stopped saying anything disappointing. Then we will work hard as a family and live a good life together. After lunch, the family discussed what to plant in the field. Chiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang have been farming for their entire lives and know what to plant in this season. Chiao Ningxun listened and recorded at the same time. An hour later, Chiao Ningxun also roughly figured out what work was currently being done in the fields. After thinking for a while, Chiao Ningxun said sternly, Grandpa, Grandma, Mother, there is most work in the fields now, and many fields are still empty. Why don't I leave it to you to manage, and the purchase of farm tools and other items will also be handed over to you. Give it to Mom. I will transfer the money to Mom later. You can buy the seeds for 20 acres of land, but I have to think about what to plant in the orchard. Is that okay? The three of them nodded at the same time, okay. Chiao Ningxun added, in the future, you should not do the work in the fields yourself. Even if it is our own land, if there is a lot of work, let the people under you do it, and you can just do some management work. Mom, don't think about finding a job in the future. If you manage your own land well, you will earn no less than you would earn outside. The three of them nodded again. Chiao Shulan was extremely moved. One of the reasons her daughter did this was for herself, so that she would not have to be angry with her employer. Chiao Ningxun looked at her cousin again, in the future, you can help manage your own land when you have time, or go to patrol to see if there are any lazy people, or help me find and process medicinal materials, so that you can also help the family. I've made money, just like I said last time, if you help me make medicines, I'll share the money with you, and if you help manage the land at home, I'll also share the money with you. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 103. Chapter 103 Mr. Chu. They were both happy at the same time. Okay, that's it. We can finally contribute to our family. Chiao Ningxun said something more, transferred 100,000 yuan to Chiao Shulan, and asked everyone to get busy. After Chiao Shulan received the money, she went to the city with her parents to buy various farm tools and vegetable seeds. Chiao Ningxun and her cousin continued to make the medicine she needed. While taking a break, she turned on her computer and entered the secret forum. She saw that there were many private messages and quickly opened them. Spent a lot of money to seek medicine, miracle doctor, thank you for your medicine. My grandfather has completely recovered from his illness. His appetite has improved a lot in the past 2 days, and his weight has gradually increased. Chang Sheng, that's great. Let the old man continue to take the rest of the medicine. This will make it less likely to relapse. Also, The room where your old man used to live is best disinfected before continuing to live in it. The used one, if you can throw away things, try to throw them away. If you can't throw away things, it's best to disinfect them. Spent a lot of money to ask for medicine. Okay, we will do as you say. When will you have time? My family is very grateful to you and wants to treat you to a meal. Chang Sheng, no, it's just a transaction between us. You have already paid. If possible, if you have any patients with difficult and complicated diseases in the future, just introduce them to me. They must be patients who cannot be cured by the hospital. Those who have, there is no need to introduce patients with minor illnesses that can be cured in the hospital. Spent a lot of money to seek medicine, okay. Shen Qingxiu turned to look at his family. You have all seen it? If she doesn't come, there is nothing I can do. Mr. Shen sighed lightly and said, that's all, let's invite again after a while. The more invitations we have, the more the other party sees our sincerity, they will probably agree. Shen Qingxiu nodded, okay, Grandpa. Qiao Ningxun browsed the forum titles, and after reading for a long time, he didn't see anyone seeking medical treatment again. In desperation, she could only post a post. Specialized in treating difficult and complicated diseases, welcome to consult. As soon as the post was posted, it quickly went viral. Qiao Ningxun was not in a hurry and continued to browse other posts. Just a moment later, her post was liked. She clicked on it, and sure enough, it was a post asking for a lot of money for medicine. It said, this person is very good at medicine. My grandfather was cured by her. Slowly, more people followed. A detective, really? Are you trying to cooperate? Spent a lot of money to seek medicine. No, everything I say is true. You can choose whether to believe it or not. Many people below were questioning. Seeing that everyone's replies were similar, Qiao Ningxun lost interest. No one is sick, which is also a good thing. Just as Qiao Ningxun was about to close the web page, a new message came on WeChat. Chu Yanyi, Qi Shenlong told me that his health is really much better, thank you. Qiao Ningxun frowned. Why did he directly call his old man by his name? Isn't Qi Shenlong his elder? Qiao Ningxun, why do you directly call your elders by their names? Chu Yanyi, he is not my elder, but my subordinate. Qiao Ningxun. Okay, I misunderstood. You are really good to your subordinates. Chu Yanyi, it's okay, I still want to thank you for fulfilling your promise so quickly. Qiao Ningxun, don't worry, you should. Chu Yanyi, my nominal grandfather is seriously ill and it is difficult to treat him in the hospital. I wonder if you are free tomorrow? I will come to pick you up personally. The nominal grandfather suddenly became seriously ill last month, but he didn't want him to worry, so he kept it secret. Until he went to see him last time, he realized that he had already been admitted to the hospital and was now terminally ill. His spiritual power was mostly sealed, and he was really helpless against the disease. The nominal grandfather? Is there an actual grandfather? Although Qiao Ningxun was confused, he didn't ask any more questions and replied, okay, but I have to charge a fee this time, which is a bit expensive. Chu Yanyi, how about 2 million? Qiao Ningxun, okay, I'll wait for you at home tomorrow. Turning off the computer, Qiao Ningxun went upstairs and saw that the medicinal materials were ready, so he asked his cousin to rest for 10 minutes before continuing to study. She continued to make medicine. Grandpa, Grandma, and Mother also came back when it got dark. For convenience, they directly found a truck to send them back and took a taxi back themselves. Qiao Ningxun checked what they bought and felt relieved when he saw that nothing was missed. Early the next morning, as soon as Qiao Ningxun saw off the wandering people, Chu Yanyi came. Qiao Ningxun turned around and said, cousin, I have to go to the city today for something, so I will ask you to take good care of me at home. They both nodded at the same time. At this time, on the other side, Mr. Chu was lying on the hospital bed, looking listlessly at the people around the bed, and said weakly, "Where is Chu Yanyi?" Mrs. Chu said in a strange tone, "Old man, don't worry about that heartless man. He has not visited you once since you were hospitalized. You are sincere to him and plan to inherit so much property for him, but he is so ruthless to you." The day Chu Yanyi came back, she disliked him very much. One day last year, the old man suddenly took Chu Yanyi home and told the public that Chu Yanyi was his and his first wife's biological grandson. She is just Mr. Chu's second wife after divorcing his original wife. When Mr. Chu divorced his first wife, her first wife took away his eldest son. He had never mentioned news about his first wife at home in these years. She thought he would leave her alone, but unexpectedly, he suddenly brought Chu Yanyi back, catching the whole family by surprise. Mr. Chu glared at Mrs. Chu with a sinister look. "You have started to be my master before I died, right?" Mr. Chu's 4 bodyguards immediately stepped forward, looking as if they would throw Mrs. Chu out as soon as their boss opened her mouth. Mrs. Chu was startled, so she could only soften her tone and said, "Old man, don't be angry, I'm just telling the truth. Look, the people in front of your bed now are our 2 descendants. It's really clear who is more filial." "Ah. It was fine that Chu Yanyi didn't know about your situation some time ago, but now that he knows, he won't even come to guard you." Mr. Chu glanced at his descendants and snorted, "What is the purpose of their coming? Do you think I don't know?" Mrs. Chu choked and stopped talking immediately. They are indeed waiting for Mr. Chu's inheritance to be distributed. At this moment, there was a knock on the ward door. A bodyguard in a black suit came over and said seriously, "Old man, Master Chu Yanyi is here." Mr. Chu was overjoyed and said, "Let him come in quickly. Don't let him wait outside in the future. Just let him come in." "Yes." Chiao Ningxun and Chu Yanyi entered the ward together, and saw everyone inside turning their heads to look at them. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 104. Chapter 104 Late Stage Treatment of Gastric Cancer. When Mr. Chu saw Chu Yanyi, his eyes immediately lit up and he wanted to get out of bed. Chiao Ningxun frowned. Was this his grandson's attitude? This is the attitude of elders. Chu Yanyi quickly stepped forward, pressed Mr. Chu's shoulders, and said in a low voice, "Lie down." Mr. Chu nodded, "Okay, I will listen to you." Mrs. Chu rolled her eyes. She did this every time Chu Yanyi appeared, as if this person was not his grandson but his ancestor. Mrs. Chu pretended to be kind and said, "Chu Yanyi, you are here." Chu Yanyi didn't even give her a look. Mrs. Chu was so angry that her heart ached. Mr. Chu looked at his children and grandchildren and saw that they were standing like pillars. He said angrily, "Chu Yanyi is here, why don't you just ask me?" The second child, Chu Dianhao, said dissatisfiedly, "Dad, he is my nephew. As elders, why should we say hello to him? Are you confused? What about the elders? If I ask you to say hello, you must say hello, otherwise I won't have children and grandchildren like you." The Chu family had no choice but to say hello to Chu Yanyi one by one. Chu Yanyi glanced at them indifferently, and finally his eyes fell on the bodyguard next to him. "After today's examination, what did the doctor say?" The faces of the Chu family suddenly looked unhappy. "Look, others don't care about them at all, but the old man still insists on letting them put their hot faces on other people's cold buttocks." The bodyguard said, "The doctor said that it only lasts a few days, and there is no need for treatment. He can be discharged at any time." Mr. Chu smiled and said, "Chu Yanyi, don't think too much. Everyone will die sooner or later. Being able to see you in this life is already the greatest blessing in my life. Don't worry, I won't let you die now. After Chu Yanyi finished speaking, he looked at Jiaoning Sun, who had disguised his appearance again. This is the miracle doctor I found for you. She can cure Qi Shenlong's poison. She also cured the old man of the Shen family, and she should be able to cure you. Everyone's eyes widened in disbelief at the same time. They all knew about Qi Shenlong's poison. Mr. Chu had invited famous doctors from all over the world, but to no avail. They also knew about the illness of the Shen family member. They had been treating it for a long time, but it had no effect at all. They were all cured by this man in front of them. Mr. Chu was so excited that his whole body trembled. He originally thought he was going to confess like this, but he didn't expect that there would be a miracle doctor. Really, is there really any hope for me? Really? Chu Yanyi looked at Jiaoning Sun and said solemnly, sorry to trouble you. Jiaoning Sun nodded, stepped forward and said, old man, you can call me Chang Sheng. Hello, Miss Chang Sheng. Chu Yanyi looked at the others and said in a tone that did not allow for refutation, let's all get out. Mrs. Chu's eyes flashed with murderous intent, you dare to command me. Mr. Chu casually threw the cup on the table towards her, hitting her head directly. In just an instant, a large amount of blood flowed out from Mrs. Chu's forehead. Mom! Grandma! The people next to her immediately stepped forward and supported Mrs. Chu worriedly. Mr. Chu said in a cold tone, how many times have I told you that you are not allowed to be rude to Chu Yanyi? When you see him, you must be as respectful as you are to your ancestors. You think I am going to die, so you don't put my words in words. In your eyes, Chu Dianfeng said dissatisfied, Dad, how can you beat your mother? She has taken care of you for so many years, and she has worked hard for you without any credit. Are you treating her like this? Chu Dianxiu also said, Dad, Mom didn't say anything wrong. Why are you so cruel? Chu Zi said, Grandpa, Grandma is so old, how can you be violent to Grandma? Chu Dianhao said, Dad, Chu Yanyi is the junior, and Mom and we are his elders. Why should we treat him with the same respect as our ancestors when we see him? Is it because he is your original wife's grandson? Mr. Chu said coldly, yes, just because he is the grandson of my first wife, you who come after you must respect him. If you can't do it, you can leave the Chu family, and I can divorce your mother and your grandmother immediately. The agreement she signed to leave her home is still with me. Mrs. Chu couldn't care less about her sadness and said quickly, I'm fine. Let's go out. She was really worried that Mr. Chu would not want her. If they got divorced, she would really get nothing. If she doesn't get any share of the Chu family's hundreds of billions of assets, wouldn't it mean serving Mr. Chu for so many years in vain? Others did not dare to say anything after hearing this. If their mother, grandmother, leaves home, wouldn't the Chu family's property all fall into Chu Yanyi's hands? After a while, Chu Yanyi and the bodyguards also came out of the room, leaving Jiaoning Sun alone to treat Mr. Chu. Mrs. Chu originally wanted to stay at the door, but the wound on her head was really big and she bled a lot, making her eyes dark. She had no choice but to go to a doctor to bandage it. Her children and grandchildren were worried about her and knew they were not welcome here, so they followed her away. The door was completely quiet. In the ward, Jiaoning Sun felt her pulse and said seriously, old man, are you in the late stage of gastric cancer? Mr. Chu said, yes, can I still be saved? Jiaoning Sun nodded, yes, it just takes some time. Mr. Chu, then I'll trouble you. Jiaoning Sun took out the silver needle and prepared it, then I'm going to start. Cancer is a disease that has been recorded in ancient medical books, but the name is not cancer. As long as you inject spiritual power into the silver needle while applying the acupuncture. She can use her spiritual power to feel the cancer cells in the patient's body when it travels throughout the patient's body, and use her magic formula to control temperature to kill the cancer cells in the patient's body. With her spiritual power protecting the patient will be fine. Take the medicine she prepared to ensure that the patient can quickly return to life. Of course, her current spiritual power is not quite enough, and she will feel very tired after the treatment. But with Chu Yanyi as a walking reservoir of spiritual power, she could return to normal as long as she stayed with him for a while. Sorry to bother you. An hour later, Qiaoningsun came out of the ward. Chu Yanyi slowly stepped forward. How is it? Qiaoningsun didn't answer for the time being. She glanced at her hand. As soon as it came into contact with Chu Yanyi, the spiritual energy she had just spent slowly returned to her body. After my treatment, everything will be fine. I just brought the medicine. After Qiaoningsun finished speaking, he took out a bottle of medicine and put it in Chu Yanyi's hand. Since the doctor has given up, there is no need to take the medicine in the hospital. Take this medicine of mine every day, once in the morning and evening, before and after meals you can take it and you will recover in a month. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Chen Chen. Chapter 105. Chu Yanyi took the medicine bottle and said seriously, "Thank you very much." Qiaoningsun said, "You can go in and see him. You can also be discharged from the hospital today. He will recuperate at home in the future. There is no need to spend so much money." Good. The middle-aged man next to him quickly opened the door, followed by others. They were all surprised to see that Mr. Chu's spirit had really improved a lot. Chu Dianfeng asked in surprise, "Dad, are you okay?" Mr. Chu shouted angrily, "Of course I'm fine. Do you want me to be fine just to inherit all my family property?" Chu Yanyi would not harm him, he knew that the little girl could save him. I just didn't expect that the little girl's medical skills were so good. After taking her medicine once and having her acupuncture once, he felt much better and no longer felt uncomfortable. Chu Dianfeng choked and said quickly, "Dad, you misunderstood me." After speaking, he looked at Qiaoningsun. "I'm just surprised that there are really people with such good medical skills in the world." Mr. Chu said sternly, "I'll tell you what you have to say. From now on, Miss Changshen will be a distinguished guest in our family. If I know that anyone dares to be disrespectful to her, I will kick him out of the Chu family and never think about it again. Inherit my inheritance." The Chu family members looked stern at the same time, looking at Qiaoningsun with meaningful eyes. Even if the old man doesn't say it, they don't dare to offend people who can cure cancer. After all, no one can guarantee that they will not get sick in this life. Qiaoningsun didn't want to get involved in the Chu family's family affairs, and said in a cold voice, "Everyone, I still have something to do, so I will stay here soon. Mr. Chu, if you have any health problems, let your grandson know, and your grandson will contact me." Mr. Chu hurriedly said, "Immortal doctor, I wonder how you charge." Chu Yanyi said, "You don't have to ask about this matter, I will give her money." Mr. Chu nodded, "Okay, then I'll trouble you." Everyone looked at Chu Yanyi with more complicated eyes. He is just a grandson. Isn't it natural to spend money on his grandfather's medical treatment? Is it necessary to be so polite? Chu Yanyi said a few more words and then left the ward with Qiaoningsun. Just as they left the ward, a group of people appeared behind them. Seeing that Zuo's family members were visiting the patient, the bodyguard next to him quickly stepped forward and said, "Mr. Suo, young Master Suo, you are here." Mr. Suo walked over quickly and said with a serious look on his face, "I received a call and asked Lao Chu, how is he now? I came to see him for the last time." The bodyguard quickly opened the door, "You'd better take a look at him yourself." Mr. Suo nodded and quickly walked into the ward with his eldest son. "Mr. Chu, who was lying on the bed, was instructing his bodyguards to handle discharge matters. When he saw his friend coming, he said with a smile, "Lao Suo, you are here." Mr. Suo saw that his friend's face was not bad, but he looked stunned. "Your bodyguard called me before, didn't he say that you can't do it? You look like you can't do it." Mr. Chu laughed and said, "Thanks to my Chu Yanyi, he brought over a miracle doctor. After being treated by her, I feel much better." Miracle doctor, Mr. Suo thought of the figure he saw in the corridor just now and asked, "Is he the one wearing black clothes and a black hat who walked with Chu Yanyi?" "Yes." "Where did Chu Yanyi invite him from? What's his name?" "I don't know. If you are interested, I can ask Chu Yan for you next time I see him." "Okay, then I'll trouble you." Mr. Chu saw Suo Jingguo's sad face and asked with concern, "Jingguo, what's wrong?" Suo Jingguo sighed softly, "You also know that it is because my daughter, who is only 16 years old now, goes out with men all day long. Although I have people watching her, I will not let her do anything extraordinary. But yesterday I broke a woman's leg. It's a small matter to pay for it, but in the long run, her reputation will be ruined, and her future will be ruined, and she will probably cause big trouble." Mr. Chu comforted him and said, "Suo Xingxin is still young, so teach her slowly. One day she will become sensible. Suo Jing martial arts, she just thinks that I only have a daughter, and her eldest brother has no interest in inheriting the Suo family, so she only knows how to play with her temper. In my opinion, the only way is for her eldest brother to bring her a sense of crisis. Had he known before, he would not have adopted this daughter. For Suo Xingxin, he was really worried." Mr. Chu nodded, "Yes, give her some pressure so that she can have concerns." Suo Jingguo sighed and said, "It would be great if I could find the woman who used my sperm. It's better that the child is my own. It's a pity that the hospital used to have paper files. What happened in the archives many years ago? The fire burned all the files." Mr. Suo said, "This is God's will. Don't worry too much about that child. That child has parents in the legal sense. We shouldn't disturb her life too much." Suo Jingguo sighed and said, "You are right. When he was young, he made a bet with his classmates, and the loser would donate sperm. Unexpectedly, he really lost, so he donated sperm. Later, he married his daughter-in-law, who gave birth to his eldest son successfully, but the daughter-in-law died soon after. He was not interested in women to begin with. Later, he was injured and could no longer have children. He did not want to delay other women, so he did not think about getting married again. But when my son was young, he saw that other people had younger sisters, and he wanted them too. He also felt that having one more person in the family would be more lively, and wanted to have both children, so he went to an orphanage to adopt a daughter, Suo Xingxin. Suo Xingxin was very well behaved when she was a child. Her father and brother called her every day. Just watching her staggering around made her heart melt. But now Suo Xingxin is no different from a little girl, and he gets worried when he thinks about it. After a while, Qiao Ningxun got into Chu Yanyi's luxury car. Chu Yanyi did not start the car in a hurry, but took out his mobile phone and transferred 2 million. Qiao Ningxun looked at the 2 million that had been received, and his face almost broke out in laughter. Sure enough, saving people means making money, which is much more than she makes selling mushrooms. Including the money she makes from selling mushrooms every day, she now has more than 10 million in her hands. Chu Yanyi saw Qiao Ningxun smiling happily, and his eyes were full of smiles. Where to go next? You saved my old man, and I will be your driver for a day today. Qiao Ningxun was instantly happy. This way she could spend a long time with Chu Yanyi and increase her spiritual power. Then I'm sorry to bother you. My family contracted 20 acres of land and 20 acres of fruit trees yesterday. Please take me to the Jiangsuan we went to last time to have a look. I want to know which fruits are the most valuable now. Which vegetables fetch the best prices? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 106. Since you want to cultivate land, you must cultivate it to maximize benefits. Yesterday, she took a closer look in the fruit forest. Some of the fruit trees were so common that the fruits they produced could not be sold for much money. She wanted to see what kind of fruits the rich people like most nowadays. Chu Yanyi nodded and drove away quickly. On the way, he said, "It is indeed a good idea for you to go to Junhang. There are many high-end fruits in Junhang, which are also very popular. But if you want to grow imported fruits, you probably have to import those fruit seedlings from abroad." Chiao Ningxun said with confidence, "Don't worry, as long as I confirm which fruits are the most valuable, then I will have a way to get their seeds." Chu Yanyi knew that she was going to use magic to induce fruit seeds, so he didn't ask any more questions. After a while, the two of them appeared in the supermarket on the first floor of Junhua's basement. Chiao Ningxun pushed the shopping cart and started shopping. Although her main purpose was fruits and vegetables, she still bought a lot of snacks, and there were several children at home. This is a high-end supermarket. Every move you make is watched by people, and you are very afraid of being reported. So the quality of the things they sell is considered good. After she bought enough snacks, she first went to the vegetable section, and after shopping around, she went to the fruit section. She didn't buy anything yet. She just looked around at the prices of the fruits, and then stood aside to see what the customers who came to buy things liked to buy. Chu Yanyi also let her go, while he went to take a look at other areas. After a while, Chiao Ningxun turned on her phone and searched the internet. Some fruits are imported, but they are very expensive, but they are not as popular with customers as cherries and white strawberries. The people in Junhang are not fools. They know that some wealthy people want to eat fruit, so they can just ask their own plane to fly it over every day. Hence, many of the fruits that can be seen outside are indeed of the best quality. The best sellers in Junhang are giant mangoes, cherries, white strawberries, dragon fruits, kiwis, finger grapes, red-fleshed apples, golden pillow durians and the recently popular sunshine rose grapes. Although the price of sunshine rose grapes dropped particularly sharply in the following years, and people also had many opinions on it, the current price is not bad. Some imported fruits are indeed very expensive, but they require a lot of labor. She contracted vegetable plots and orchards because she just wanted to find something for her grandparents and mother to do. She didn't want them to spend too much time on vegetable plots and orchards and just plant expensive things. Although with her around, everything can mature quickly and smoothly. But if planting is too expensive, the family may have to worry about being stolen all the time. Worrying and tiring every day may be bad for their health. Chiao Ningxun saw Chu Yanyi walking towards her and asked, "Do you know anyone from the local seedling company? I want to buy some fruit seedlings and seeds." Chu Yanyi said, "Of course we know each other, let's go, but it's time to have lunch soon, so we'll go over after lunch." Good. The two of them had a Western meal in the food court upstairs. This time Chiao Ningxun learned the lesson and planned to pay after ordering. But she didn't expect that the store owner would greet her and tell her that Chu Yanyi was inviting her to this meal, so she had to take back the card in frustration. After eating, Chiao Ningxun went to the underground supermarket to buy some things, and then went to the nursery stock company with Chu Yanyi. She bought a lot of seeds and saplings that she thought would be needed in the future and had people from the sapling company deliver them directly to her home, and then she left with satisfaction. It was already evening when we left. Chu Yanyi suggested, "Why don't we go back after dinner? How about the Chinese restaurant last time, Tianshui Hall?" Chiao Ningxun nodded, "Okay. This time, she must be invited back. 10 minutes later, Chu Yanyi's luxury car stopped in the open-air parking lot of Tianshui Hall. As soon as he walked into the private room and sat down, the door to their private room was pushed open. When Chu Yanyi saw the person coming, a chill flashed through his eyes. When the visitor saw that Chu Yanyi was indeed in this private room, he was extremely surprised and said softly, "Brother Yanyi, it's really you. I saw your back just now and thought I had recognized the wrong person. Really, it's such a coincidence. Why don't we have dinner together today?" After saying that, he looked familiar and sat next to Chu Yanyi. Seeing Chiao Ningsun opposite Chu Yanyi, Suo Xingsun frowned and asked, "Who is this person? Why did you invite her here to eat alone? I have made appointments with you several times before, but you ignored me. Why can you just be with me, have dinner with her?" Chu Yanyi narrowed his eyes dangerously, and did not answer her question. He said in a cold tone, "Hurry up, you are not welcome here." "Brother Yanyi, how can you talk to people like this?" After the girl finished speaking, she glanced at Chiao Ningsun and said with a face full of jealousy, "Is it because of this woman that you ignore me?" Chiao Ningsun clenched her fists and looked at the girl in front of her as if she were looking at a dead person. From the first moment she saw her, she recognized who she was. This person is Suo Xingsun's best friend, Lin Qiao, who killed her in her previous life. She has the best relationship with Suo Xingsun. She was in the same company as Lin Qiao in her previous life, and this man often bullied her, but she always repaid him with an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. The last time was the most outrageous. She saw Qiao Shulan waiting for her on the roadside one night, and she actually wanted to hit Qiao Shulan to death. Fortunately, Qiao Shulan was lucky. There was a police patrol car passing by at that time, so she was safe and sound. "Very good, since you and Suo Xingsun are best friends, I will use you as an appetizer." Chu Yanyi glanced at Chiao Ningsun's eyes and said coldly, "It has nothing to do with her. If you don't leave, don't regret it." Lin Qiao was about to say that she would not regret it, but suddenly her expression changed, she hugged her body and shivered, and said in a trembling voice, "Is the air conditioner in this private room broken? Why is it so cold all of a sudden?" Chiao Ningsun smiled and said, "No, we all think it's quite suitable." "Are you sick?" Lin Qiao was puzzled. Just as she was about to speak, her eyes suddenly hurt. She covered her eyes and said anxiously, "My eyes hurt, it hurts." Chu Yanyi was unmoved when he heard this, his eyes were full of indifference and coldness. "Since you are not feeling well, you should go to the hospital quickly. Your eyes are accused of being warm, even if you are not blind you will still suffer." The bodyguard who came with Lin Qiao immediately helped Lin Qiao away. "Chiao Ningsun's eyes are cold, just bear with it for this period of time." After dinner, Chu Yanyi sent Chiao Ningsun home and rested in Daguo village himself. After Lin Qiao left, she went directly to the hospital for examination. After just one set of examinations, all of Lin Qiao's examination results were normal, but her body was shaking more and more violently. "Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible." Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 107. Lin Qiao put on the down jacket given by her family and finally felt a little better, but only a little. She was still shivering from the cold. As for Lin Qiao's eyes, the doctor applied a hot towel to her for a while, and her eyes no longer hurt. But as soon as the towel became cold, her eyes began to hurt sharply again. Her parents rushed to the hospital after hearing about their daughter's condition and anxiously asked the doctor about her condition. Mother Lin asked, "Doctor, how is my daughter doing? What disease does she have?" The doctor frowned, "Sorry, I don't know. We have done all the tests, but she is normal." Father Lin said, "Forget it, transfer directly to the hospital. Let's go to the number 1 hospital." Mother Lin had no choice but to nod. I just went to the number 1 hospital and did a set of tests, which also showed that Lin Qiao was normal. Father Lin and Mother Lin were furious in the hospital, and in the end they had no choice but to take their daughter back. As soon as Father Lin got home, he received a call. What? Mr. Chu is home? Is he hopeless? What? Is your body getting better? Can your body get better in the advanced stage of gastric cancer? Is medical technology so advanced now? If it's not cured by the hospital, then who can cure it? A miraculous doctor who knows ancient medical skills. Father Lin was standing at the door of his daughter's room. He glanced at the closed door and asked, "What is the name of that miracle doctor? Can you contact him? A patient who can even cure cancer may be able to cure his daughter." "Suo Jingguo, I don't have contact information. I heard that Chu Yanyi, the grandson of the Chu family who just came back, sent him here. He is the only one who can contact the miracle doctor. Even Mr. Chu can't. Contact information. Father Lin, Chu Yanyi? Do you have Chu Yanyi's contact information?" "Suo Jingguo, I don't. Do you want to see a doctor through him? I remember that your family members are all in good health." Father Lin had no choice but to explain Lin Qiao's current situation. "That's it. Today's temperature is 38 degrees during the day. Qiao still feels cold even after soaking in the bathtub. There is nothing wrong with the hospital examination. I want to see Gu. Let the doctor take a look at her." "Suo Jingguo, I see. I don't have contact information, but Mr. Chu does. I'll call Mr. Chu and ask him. I'll call you when I get the contact information. But I heard that Chu Yanyi has a weird temper and won't give it to him easily. Contact information, you have to be prepared." "Father Lin, okay, I'm sorry to trouble you." Father Lin waited for a while, and then the phone rang again. "Hello, Jingwu, how are you?" "Suo Jingguo, my guess is correct. Mr. Chu did not give Chu Yanyi his contact information. He said that Chu Yanyi greeted him and no one is allowed to give his contact information." Father Lin was stunned. "What about the rest of the Chu family? No one has his contact information." "Suo Jingguo, no, I also told Mr. Chu about Qiao's illness. Mr. Chu actually called Chu Yanyi, but Chu Yanyi said that the miracle doctor couldn't save Lin Qiao and hung up the phone." Father Lin sighed. "Well, I won't bother you anymore. If Qiao is still like this after tonight, then I will have to take her to visit abroad tomorrow. Suo Jingguo, I wish your daughter a speedy recovery." At this moment, Mother Lin came out of the room. Father Lin asked worriedly, "How is it? Are you feeling better now?" Mother Lin wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. "No, she was trembling all over when she was soaked in the water. I also asked someone to raise the water temperature a lot. I touched it, it felt hot, but she didn't feel it at all and still said it was cold." Father Lin took out his cell phone and pressed the call. "Don't worry, I'll have someone prepare a private jet now, and we'll go abroad to see it." "Well, that's all it can do now." Father Lin made a phone call and returned to his room. Thinking of the secret forum I knew, I opened the web page, logged in, and found the medical section. Seeing a post, he quickly clicked on it. There was only one person inside who said that Chang Sheng's medical skills were very good and that he was a miracle doctor. Others were doubtful. But Chang Sheng didn't say a word of explanation. He thought he was a liar and closed the page. After Chiao Ningxun returned home, the truck delivering seedlings had also arrived. She called her home in advance, so Chiao Kongsheng asked people from the nursery stock company to deliver the seedlings directly to her yard to avoid being stolen in the field. Chiao Ningxun checked the quantity and went to rest. By evening, the entire Deguo village knew that Lao Chiao's family had contracted 40 acres of land at one time. There are those who are envious, and there are those who are waiting to see the joke. Especially Lu Hehua and her two sisters-in-law, although they were jealous inside, their faces looked like they were laughing. At this time, the three families gathered together. Lu Hehua said angrily, "My parents really dote on Jiaoning Sun. They can't make any money from contracting land for others, but they actually spend tens of thousands to let Jiaoning Sun contract the land. How can she, a child, farm? She will definitely lose her pants gone." Ya Yunding nodded, "Yes, pesticides, fertilizers, etc. are so expensive now. Planting 1 acre of rice will cost more than 1,000 kilograms when harvested, and it will only cost 700 or 800 kilograms to grind into rice. 1 kilogram of rice will only cost 2 yuan. 1 acre of land only earns more than 1,000 yuan, and 20 acres of land only earns about 30,000 yuan a year. It also costs a lot of labor, so you can earn a amount of money." Lu Yueja said, "That's right, I've also eaten the fruits from the old Zhang family. They are so unpalatable. Unless she replaces all the trees, otherwise, she will only lose money." Qiao Jianyu said lightly, "Other people may not all grow rice. They can grow potatoes and valuable vegetables. I heard that 2 acres of land were sold for more than 50,000 yuan before. If they all grow potatoes, it will cost 20,000 yuan. An acre of land is sold for 500,000 yuan a year." When everyone heard this, their faces turned pale. The faces of the three sisters-in-law became even more distorted. What Jiao Jian lobbied for may really come true for the Jiao family. 500,000 a year. The three of them together can't make more than 500,000 a year. Qiao Jianmo suddenly scratched his head anxiously when he thought that so much money could not be put into his pocket. They, as sons, should have a share of their parents' money. Seeing the calculation in everyone's eyes, Qiao Jianyu added, "Don't even think about getting the income from those lands from your parents. I heard from people in the village office that the contractor of those lands is Jiaoning Sun, that is, it is said that the income from those lands belongs to Jiaoning Sun. As her uncle and aunt, we are not qualified to share her money even if she is dead. Now her parents are just helping her." The other 5 people suddenly looked like wilted eggplants. Damn Jiaoning Sun, he actually contracted it himself, he must be on guard against them. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 108. The 6 of them discussed for a long time, but could not find a way to get benefits from Lao Jiao's family, so they had to break up temporarily. The next day, after seeing off the wandering people, a group of people came to Lao Jiao's house. Yesterday, Jiaoning Sun told her cousin that if their classmates and their parents were willing to come over to work, that would be fine. Therefore, there were many people standing at the door at this time, all wanting to come over and work. Of course, it also includes the 6 people who used to work in the fields. Jiaoning Sun's eyes swept around the people present, and said loudly, "Everyone, I contracted the 40 acres of land, so my grandparents and mother also gave me the decision-making power on who will work on it in the end. So far, the field does need some manpower, but it doesn't require too many people. 30 people are enough, so there will definitely be some people who will not be left behind later. You must be mentally prepared. But the people I invite can definitely stay, don't worry." Guan Qinfu and Guan Yiwen suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. They were very happy when He Yuanhui invited them to come and work yesterday. It is summer vacation now, and there are many young and strong summer workers in the city. Guan Qinfu has not found a job for a long time. Although the money Jiaoning Sun gave him this time was not as high as the last time he harvested potatoes, it was still better than sitting idle at home. What he could earn for a day counted as a day. Jiaoning Sun added, "Everyone, although I need 30 people for the time being, these 30 people may not be able to work in the fields for a long time. When there is less work, you may be asked to go home and rest temporarily. Okay, if you have no objection, I will start the registration. Those who have registered can stay, and those who have not registered, please leave first. Most of the people who came had no objections and waited quietly. Zhang Chao and Zhang Cai were immediately worried, and they didn't know if Xiao Ningxun would keep them. Sure enough, when Xiao Ningxun finished reading the last name, there were no two of them. Zhang Chao asked dissatisfiedly, "Why don't you want us to work?" Xiao Ningxun raised his eyebrows and said, "Why? I don't want you to work. The land is contracted by me. Whoever I want will work." Zhang Chao choked and saw that the others were looking at him with mocking faces, so he could only leave with his younger brother. Lu Hehua said dissatisfied, "Ningxun, we are relatives, why do you want those outsiders to work instead of us?" Ye Yunding said, "Yes, we also want to make money. Lu Yujideo, the three of us don't have jobs now, and we are idle when we are idle. Just give us three a job." The three of them have discussed it. After all, they are Xiao Ningxun's aunt and they are all a family. Even if they are lazy, others will not dare to complain. When the time comes, they can all get money even if they are lying at home. Xiao Ningxun said indifferently, "There is no reason. I only accept people with good character. If you have bad character, I won't accept you." Others suddenly burst into laughter. This child spoke too honestly. Lu Hehua frowned and said, "Are we of bad character? Did we kill someone or set a fire?" Xiao Ningxun raised her eyebrows and said, "If you don't support your parents-in-law, you often steal their things, and you teach your children not to recognize their grandparents, does it count if you scold them?" Lu Hehua choked, knowing that Xiao Ningxun was going to settle old scores again, so she had no choice but to leave. Her two sisters-in-law followed. Other people who were not selected also left. Xiao Ningxun's eyes fell on the fruit saplings not far away. "I had these transported to my home yesterday. We will all carry them to the fruit forest together later. I want to adjust the structure of various fruit trees. They will be planted today. Please finish planting the fruit trees tomorrow." The 30 people had no objection and hurriedly went to carry the fruit saplings. So starting from today, Xiao Ningxun has been adjusting the structure of vegetables and fruit trees planted in the ground. It took him 2 days to finally plant the fruit trees and various seeds. As for the fruit trees that she eliminated from the orchard, she also gave them to He Yuan who as classmates. Every household in the village has a yard, and you can get some free fruits to eat every year if you plant them in the yard. He Yuan Yang and He Yuan Huai no longer complained that they could not help at home. It was cooler every morning, so they went to help in the fields every morning, or help Xiao Ningxun find herbs, and studied in the afternoon and evening. As for what Xiao Ningxun said about the live broadcast, both of them are very introverted and have struggled for a long time without daring to speak in the live broadcast. Moreover, the live broadcast was very delayed in finding herbs, so the two of them gave up temporarily. After Xiao Ningxun found out, he didn't say anything. It does take time for an introvert to suddenly become talkative. Xiao Ningxun also taught He Yuan Huai how to study whenever she had free time. After she felt that his first-year high school courses were okay, she taught him his second-year high school courses. On this day, Xiao Ningxun was preparing to go out with the medicine she had just prepared, when she heard noises in the distance. Xiao Ningxun saw a man coming from that direction and asked, "Uncle, what happened over there?" The man said, "It's the old lady of the Guan family. Her mental illness broke out again. Early this morning, when the old man of the Guan family didn't look at anyone, she took a knife and chopped up all the chickens in the house. After chopping, she actually jumped into the well. Fortunately, her family members caught her in time and prevented her from jumping. After being rescued, the old woman still didn't stop. There happened to be a river behind Guan's house, so she actually jumped into the river. A large group of people went to save the old woman again. There are so many people helping me, so it should be okay. I have to be busy taking the bus, so I don't continue to watch the excitement. Stop talking, the bus is coming soon, I have to get there quickly. Xiaoningsun said, okay, thank you, uncle. A few minutes later, Xiaoningsun also walked to the door of Guan's house. As soon as I passed by, I saw many people in Guan's yard. The person must have been rescued, and the Guan family is probably changing clothes for Grandma Guan Yiwen. Guan Yiwen had just gone to boil the water when he saw Xiaoningsun coming out of the yard. He quickly explained, Sister Ningsun, I'm sorry. My dad and I just went to the fields and heard that something happened at home, so we're back. Don't worry, we will extend our working hours today and we won't take your money in vain. Xiaoningsun said indifferently, it's okay, you can take care of your family first. Okay, thank you Sister Ningsun. Xiaoningsun waited for a while, and Guanqinfu also came out of the house. Seeing Xiaoningsun there, she also wanted to explain to her. Xiaoningsun was the first to speak, needless to say anything else, how is Grandma Guan doing now? Guanqinfu said with a sad face, thanks to the villagers, we saved him in time. He just drank a few water and fell asleep from exhaustion after struggling for so long. That's good. After Guan Shuhe his wife, he also walked out of the house. Guanqinfu stepped forward and said, Dad, Mom's illness can't be delayed any longer. If this continues, something will happen to her sooner or later. We still have to send her to the hospital. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 109. Chapter 109, Blackmail Me Forever. Guan Shuhe sighed, I know, but we have no money. It costs a lot of money to see a doctor. If the little money in hand is spent, what will happen to your son's tuition and living expenses for the next semester? This. Guanqinfu hesitated. He now has a regular job and his son is also working. He should be able to save enough money this summer. But before Guanqinfu had time to speak, Xiaoningsun said, how about you let me try? Everyone was stunned at the same time. Guanqinfu asked blankly, what? Xiaoningsun said patiently, let me try it. I have taught myself ancient medicine, acupuncture, and medicine. Recently, you must have heard that my cousin and I found a lot of herbal medicine in the mountains. Well, I have researched a lot of medicines during this period, some of which are for mental health. Guan Yiwen was kind to He Yuan in her previous life, so let's just think of her as repaying the favor of the Guan family on behalf of her cousin. Some villagers in the yard immediately raised questions. How can you, a child, treat mental illness? Even mental hospitals can't treat it to control it, the patient has to take medicine for a long time. That is, don't delay the Guan family in sending people to the hospital, so as not to delay the condition. If you are really kind, lend some money to the Guan family. Their family is really in trouble. The villagers were talking to each other, and the meaning behind their words was that they didn't believe that she had medical skills. Xiaoningsun didn't bother to explain to them. He glanced at them, pointed at the person on the far left and said, you have kidney problems. You probably have kidney stones. You have a stomach problem if I'm not mistaken, it's early stage gastric cancer, go see a doctor immediately for treatment, you can probably live longer. You must have had a heart attack just the day before yesterday. And you, when it rains, the rheumatism will probably kill you for half your life. Lastly, there is you have uterine fibroids. Xiaoningsun named the illnesses of 10 people in succession. The reason why she knows so much is, firstly, by looking at their faces, and secondly, by using spiritual power and calculating it based on the metaphysics books in the space. Although her spiritual power is not enough and her fortune telling is not very accurate now, With her medical skills, there is no problem in treating patients. These people are not kind to Lao Chiao's family. They even bullied her and her cousins when they were children. No wonder she said it directly. The expressions of the people pointed by Jiaoningsun changed at the same time. How do you know that I have kidney stones? I just found out about it yesterday. I didn't tell anyone that I had stomach cancer. How did you know? Jiaoningsun wrote lightly, of course it can be seen. Whether you are sick or not, I can tell at a glance. Some people began to question again. Don't talk so hard about yourself, did you already know what disease we have? Yes, how can ordinary people tell that we are sick just by looking at our faces? Even those old doctors can't tell, and they still need to feel the pulse. If you don't feel the pulse, you are talking nonsense. Yes, you knew it in advance. Jiaoningsun spread her hands helplessly. Believe it or not, I won't waste time with you. After saying that, she turned to look at Guanqinfu and whispered a few words in his ear. Guanqinfu suddenly looked at Jiaoningsun in horror. He has never told anyone about his illness, he is the only one who knows about it. Guanqinfu instantly understood that Jiaoningsun was really capable, and hurriedly said, Ningsun, please take a look at my mother quickly. Jiaoningsun nodded and entered the room. She first pricked a few needles into Zhong Quiling's head. Half an hour later, she took out the medicine she had prepared and put it in Guanqinfu's hand. From now on, take 1 pill of my medicine every day for a month. I guarantee that she will not get sick while taking the medicine. After taking the medicine, then I won't get sick again. Guanqinfu was overjoyed and said excitedly, thank you very much, but how do you charge for this medicine? Jiaoningsun waved his hand, use it first, and you can pay after a month to see the effect. Guanqinfu nodded, thank you very much. Guanqinfu carried Zhong Quiling to the bed and lay down. However, the ropes on her hands and feet were still not untied. After a while, Zhong Quiling's eyes returned to clarity. Zhong Quiling saw everyone looking at her, then looked at the rope on her body, and sighed, am I sick again? Guan Yiwen said, yes, Grandma, you chopped down all the chickens in the house just now, and jumped into the well and the river again, scaring us to death. Zhong Quiling said with a guilty look on her face, I told you last time, if I really jumped into a river or a well, or cut myself with a knife, just pretend you didn't see it. Anyway, it was me who killed myself, and you didn't either. This way you and your family will be relieved. If my disease hadn't dragged you down, your family wouldn't be so sad. Lao Guan could go out to work and wouldn't have to worry about the annual tuition fees, let alone his mother. Ran. Guan Shui Hedeo, old woman, don't say that, we are all one family. What will we do if you die? Guanqinfu said anxiously, Mom, it's not your fault that things are like this at home. I don't blame you if Yiwen's mother ran away. She asked me to buy a house for her to live in the city. I have no ability, can't afford it, and don't want to borrow money. She is just like a city person, don't think about it, you are my mother, how could I watch you die? Guan Yiwen said, that's right, Grandma, don't worry now, we found the doctor, she gave you an injection and gave you medicine, so you won't get sick again in the future. Jiaoningsun just told them that Zhong Quiling is not very mentally stable. Don't tell her that the person who treated her is Jiaoningsun for the time being, lest she think too much and question how a child can be cured every day. Delayed recovery time. Zhong Quiling had taken a lot of medicine in her life, so she only thought they were comforting her when she heard them. She said she was sleepy and closed her eyes. The sound of snoring was heard instantly. Jiaoningsun. Your sleep is really good. Jiaoningsun walked out of the room and came to the yard, where many people gathered around her. Jiaoningsun, since you can see the disease we have, can you treat it? Yes, you have already helped the Guan family to treat their illnesses, so why not help us too? Although it is possible to cure my early-stage gastric cancer, It will cost a lot of money. Help me, too, and give me some medicine. Chiao Ningsun said indifferently, you should go to the hospital honestly for your illness. I have no chance of curing it. If something goes wrong along the way, aren't you going to blackmail me for the rest of your life? I don't want to get into trouble. End of this chapter. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 110. Chapter 110 Lu Kaishan. After saying that, she left. She has already decided that most of her patients must be those that cannot be treated by the hospital. The Guan family is an exception. Based on the pedantic thinking of most people in the village, as long as they take her medicine, even if they recover later, it is estimated that any colds in the future will be attributed to taking her medicine. The villagers saw that they could not take advantage, and their thoughts were seen through by Chiao Ningsun, so they left with regrets on their faces. That girl is really smart. They had just discussed it outside and asked Chiao Ningsun to treat them together. It's just a little girl. If you really have the ability to cure them, then they won't have to spend money to go to the hospital for treatment. If they can't be cured, they will say in a few days that their condition is serious because Chiao Ningsun misused medicine. For the rest of their lives, whenever they feel a little uncomfortable, they will ask Chiao Ningsun for money. In this way, they will not need to spend money on medical treatment in their lifetime. Even if they die, they can ask their descendants to blackmail them a sum of money, so that their descendants can turn over in the future. I just didn't expect that Chiao Ningsun would not be fooled. Since he wants to be a good person, Chiao Ningsun decided to use it today to save his character. The Lu family, who had donated money to He Yuanyang's leukemia before, also suffered from the disease, including Xiao Xiao. She can also trust the Lu family's character. Even though I helped them sell Ganodermal lucidum for several thousand yuan more last time, it would be nothing if I helped them this time. Soon, she arrived at the door of Liu's house. The Lu family's courtyard door was ajar, and she was about to knock on the door when she heard the Lu family actually mentioned her. Lu Fuxiang said, how about I ask Chiao Ningsun to see if she still accepts people from her farm? If I can make a little more money, it's worth it. Li Quilian said with a mournful face, this is the only way we can do it now. God is too cruel to our family. Originally, only my grandson's mother could do the work, but he actually made her fall ill. The money I finally got from selling Ganodermal lucidum can't be saved. They all went to treat their grandson's mother. My poor grandson is about to start school in September, and he can't even pay for his tuition fees. Okay, Lu Fuxiang said, don't blame Yufeng's mother. We are in poor health and our son is disabled. The family's livelihood and medicines all depend on her working alone. If it weren't for this family, she wouldn't have so desperate to make yourself sick. Li Quilian said, I know, I don't blame her, I just think God is unfair. Our family has suffered so much, and the only one who can make money has fallen. I don't know how sad the future will be. My biggest wish, my two grandsons have entered a good university and found a good job. Now it seems that with our family's physical condition, whether we can support them is a big problem. Lu Fuxiang said comfortingly, don't be discouraged. Yufeng's mother just had a normal gallstone surgery. It's not a terminal illness. It's just that she didn't buy medical insurance in order to save money before, so she spent a lot of money this time. We need to remember better in the future. I bought all my family's insurance. Li Quilian nodded, okay, I'll listen to you. After listening, Chiao Ningsun knocked on the door. The two of them looked up and saw Chiao Ningsun, and quickly stood up. Lu Fuxiang said with enthusiasm, Ningsun, you're here, what's the matter? Come and sit down and talk. Chiao Ningsun was not polite and sat in front of them. He didn't mince words and said directly, that's it. I recently studied ancient medical books and did some research on paralysis. If you believe me, I can show it to Uncle Lu. They were both shocked at the same time. Lu Fuxiang said seriously, "Ningxuan, are you sure?" Qiao Ningxuan smiled and said, "I'm 90% sure. Don't say anything too absolute to avoid accidents and leave yourself a way out." Lu Fuxiang thought about it and realized that his son was already like this. Even if he couldn't be cured, the result would not be worse than the current result. But if Qiao Ningxuan is believed and his son still has the possibility to stand up, then there will be hope for their family in the future. Thinking about it, he told his wife what he thought. Li Quilian also agreed. It was difficult for them to refuse when others came to the door with good intentions. Moreover, Qiao Ningxuan is a well-educated person, so he shouldn't be so stupid. He couldn't cure the disease and still took the initiative to come to her. If something goes wrong, her grandparents and mother will not be able to stay in Daguo village. Seeing his wife nodding, Lu Fuxiang solemnly said, "Ningxuan, I'll leave it to you." Qiao Ningxuan knew they would agree. "Okay, come in with me, I need you to help me." "Good." As soon as I walked into the house, there was a scent of flowers. Although he is a patient who has been bedridden for a long time, there is no unpleasant smell inside. Lu Kaishan's parents kept his bedroom very clean every day and often picked fragrant wildflowers and put them in the house. At this time, Lu Kaishan was holding a book and reading. Although he is paralyzed, he is also full of hope for life. His academic performance was also very good before. He also attended high school, took the college entrance examination, and was admitted to a key university. It's just that both his parents were sick and he had only one son, so he had no choice but to give up going to college and stay at home to take care of his parents. He has never given up on his dream, which is to become an expert in computers. So even though he was paralyzed, he still read computer-related books every day. He thought that if he was reading now, and his family would be better off in the future, he would buy a second-hand computer and operate it himself. In a few years, he would be able to work even with a computer and make money for his children to go to college. Seeing his parents bring an outsider in, Lu Kaishan asked, "Mom, Dad, who is she?" Qiao Ningxuan glanced at the name of the book he was reading and briefly explained his purpose. "How about it? Do you want to give it a try? If you give it a try, you may have a chance to stand up, but if you don't try, you will probably have to spend the rest of your life in bed." Lu Kai took a deep look at his parents, saw them nodding, and then said, "Okay, I'll try." Qiao Ningxuan was a little surprised. She thought she would have to spend more time talking. "Take off his clothes. I'll give him acupuncture first." "Good." After preparing the acupuncture tools, Qiao Ningxuan first felt Lu Kaishan's pulse before starting to apply acupuncture. Lu Kaishan was still frowning. After all, a little girl would give a grown man acupuncture, which would make him feel uncomfortable. But as time went by, he actually felt that the injured areas of his legs were warm and comfortable as never before. Half an hour later, Lu Kaishan almost fell asleep comfortably. Qiao Ningxuan withdrew the silver needle and put the medicine on the table facing the bed. "From today on, let him take one of my medicines a day, and you will massage his injured area twice every morning and evening, each time no less than 40 minutes. After a week, give him crutches and let him try to walk. It doesn't matter if he falls. He should walk for at least an hour every day. If he can, he should walk as much as possible. After 3 months, it will definitely be like normal people." End of this chapter.